Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And let's start with EVE Online, where I spent a normal amount of time, I would say. I did a little bit of exploration, didn't get any good drops really, but adding in a couple of good data sites, I actually feel like I got a decent return on my time invested there. CCP also came out with the video about your stats for last year. Very cool concept. I'm really happy that they did this, and to my surprise I came out as an industrialist rather than a PvEer, so I don't have my exploration stats, which I think would have been pretty good, but the stat that dominated the video was probably the fact that I made around 2 million items, which is because I produced quite a bit of munitions back when I was into a little bit of industry, and that put me in like the 9th percentile. So I think that's why the system chose industry for me personally, and that has motivated me a little bit to get back into industry. And at the moment I am back into making munitions. It is surprisingly good on some of the missiles. Just from the expected values from the industry window, there are some that are worth double the minerals that you put in there. So it is pretty good. I'm now going to try to do a little bit more industry, to also do more regular runs to Jita to try and sell stuff more quickly and more effectively. And that is something that I'll be working on in the upcoming weeks. Hopefully I can keep it up, and hopefully I can then fund everything through my exploration / conduit running, and as a result I'm hoping to get into like a positive wallet balance at some point, because I did buy the Ikitursa, which I tried for exploration, and that's actually a pretty costly ship that put me in the red for quite a little bit of risk. I could resell it, of course, because it turns out that the Ikitursa really is not a great exploration ship. The implant set doesn't help against all of these small targets. The one-shots are very satisfying, but then the tracking disruption is a little bit of a problem. So it really doesn't replace the Ishtar or the Gila as the kings of exploration for me personally. We'll see what we can do with it. Perhaps it could be a mission runner or something like that. It basically needs bigger target to take advantage of the weapon system and the implant set. So we'll figure that out as we continue playing EVE Online. On the development front, there is not that much to report, except of course a dev blog from Team Talos, who is going to come out with a release on the 14th of January, and the hint that they gave had the Sancha logo in it, so we could be looking at a rebalance for stuff like the Nightmare, the other Sancha ships, which would be very good news for me, because I actually have had a couple of BPCs in the last couple of days which I've produced in Jita, and they were so low in value that I decided to hold on to the Sancha ships. We might be able to sell them for a nice profit in around 10 days. And so for EVE Online I am definitely looking forward to playing more, to doing some more industry, to find a routine that incorporates daily industry into my EVE Online sessions, and hopefully it'll all work out. And next to EVE Online, I also spent a decent amount of time playing Path of Exile, of course, in the new league. And what I did was actually build a second Necromancer. Really did my best to try and get that one into maps as quickly as possible. So with at New Year's Eve, I actually spent a decent amount of time going through the Axe very quickly. And yeah, it is another Necromancer that is by far my favorite playstyle. This one is actually based around minion instability and using the skeletons to become living weapons, living bombs that explode once they reach like 33% of their life or something like that. It's definitely stronger than my previous Necro build that was focusing on physical damage for the skeletons. The big difference is that minion life also scales your damage with minion instability, and as a result you prioritize minion life and minion damage, and you forego minion attack speed, minion cost speed, and things like that. It's pretty much the same amount of nodes, but the big advantage is that my defensive army of zombies, Spectre, I'm also using the animate guardian with buffing weapons. All those guys, they don't perish that easily in big AoE attacks from bosses and from metamorphs, for instance. So it is in the same vein as my physical damage skeleton character, but it focuses on minion life as well, which does mean that we have much higher survivability with that. I can also forego the specters that give power charges and frenzy charges, and I have pure defensive minions that put up bubbles for me, that protect me from outside damage. Very nice, of course. In some boss battles this really has saved my skin quite often, and at this point I'm also getting to level 87. I think I'm getting close to those red maps. I tried a tier 13 map and I'm definitely not ready for that at this point, but it's been another very interesting experience for me personally. I absolutely love the Necromancer playstyle, and I now have like full weapons and items that are giving me extra minion life and extra minion damage. I made most of those myself with those essences, I think they're called. It's been an amazing experience, and this is actually starting to look like my plan for the next league as well, unless it gets massively nerfed, of course, but then going in hardcore solo self-found. I really want to test myself a bit more in that sense. I want to play the game rather than look into trading and look into really min-maxing the character to the full potential that is needed for a non-solo self-found playthrough, and so yeah, that's basically the point that I'm at for Path of Exile. 2 Necromancers, got into or close to red maps, and it's been super interesting. Lots of fun there. I learned a lot as well. There's still a lot for me to learn, but overall it has been a pretty damn good amount of fun in Path of Exile up to this point. We'll see what I can manage to do further down the line, but for now that's it for my last week in games. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.